didn't wear a mask, he didn't hide behind fake names or offshore accounts. He walked through the marble lobbies of the most powerful financial institutions in the world with confidence. He was praised in the media, welcomed in government circles, admired by billionaires, and when he smiled, people trusted him. His name was Bernard Madoff, and for decades he represented everything Wall Street admired: consistency, control, and credibility. He promised modest returns, no exaggerations, no sudden spikes or wild risks, just a steady, predictable growth that seemed almost too good to be true. But because it was delivered with such poise, such precision, no one questioned it. Banks, celebrities, charities, entire pension systems, all of them handed their money to him, confident that this man would protect it. But he wasn't investing a dime. For over 2 decades, Madoff ran the largest Ponzi scheme in financial history. He took new money to pay off old investors, a recycling of billions, dressed in balance sheets, technical jargon, and charisma. He wasn't just a fraudster, he was a master illusionist. The collapse came in 2008 during the global financial meltdown. When everyone was rushing to withdraw their funds, the illusion shattered. There was no money, just smoke and mirrors. Over $65 billion disappeared. Families lost their life savings. People who had trusted him for years were ruined. One man lost $10 million and later took his own life. Entire charities went bankrupt. Banks wrote off billions. And the most terrifying part? There were no red flags, no armed guards, no threats, just a man in a suit saying exactly what people wanted to hear. Would you have trusted him? But Madoff wasn't an isolated monster. He was part of a pattern, a global pattern. In Germany, the company Wirecard was hailed as a fintech miracle, a rising star. Digital payments, cryptocurrency integration, artificial intelligence, it had everything investors loved. The CEO, Markus Braun, was quiet, focused, disciplined, a tech leader, the kind of man journalists call visionary. Wirecard's stock skyrocketed. It was included in Germany's elite DAX 30 index. Billions flowed in from around the world, and then it all unraveled. More than 2 billion euros were found to be missing. The company had invented revenue streams, created fake subsidiaries, and forged documents. The money wasn't lost. It never existed. Executives had built an empire on fiction. Germany's financial watchdogs were humiliated. Investors were furious. The company collapsed in disgrace. The CEO was arrested. The COO vanished. All of this, billions lost, because no one doubted the man in charge. In the United States, a different face was rising. Elizabeth Holmes, blonde, soft-spoken, wearing black turtlenecks and a deep voice. She claimed her startup, Theranos, would revolutionize healthcare. Her machine would perform hundreds of blood tests using just a single drop. Her pitch was flawless. Her team included former U.S. Secretaries of Defense, State, and some of the most powerful people in the country. She raised $700 million in funding. She was on magazine covers, invited to speak with world leaders. But the machine? It didn't work. It never had. For years, Theranos faked results. Patients received wrong diagnoses. People took or refused medications based on false data. Lives were put at risk, and no one questioned her because she seemed sincere. She looked like the future. One of the company's own whistleblowers said, "No one wanted to be the first to say the emperor has no clothes." And so the lie grew, powered by silence, by ambition, and by trust. In Brazil, the Telex-free scandal rocked a different kind of community. It wasn't about billionaires. It was about ordinary people, teachers, taxi drivers, factory workers. The company promised financial freedom through network marketing. You'd get paid to promote their services. You'd earn even more by bringing in others. Thousands joined. Some mortgaged their homes. Others emptied savings accounts. It felt like a movement, a revolution, and it was. A revolution of lies. Telex-free operated like a pyramid scheme. The only money being made was from new recruits paying the old ones. When it finally collapsed, the damage was massive, not just financially, emotionally. Families torn apart, people bankrupted, and still some refused to believe it was a scam, because the people who ran it, they looked like saviors. In India, Nirav Modi wasn't just a businessman, he was a jeweler to royalty. His stores sparkled with diamonds, his name appeared in fashion magazines, and his photo was taken with politicians and celebrities. Behind the glamour, he was orchestrating a $2 billion banking fraud. He used forged letters of credit to secure loans. He funneled money through shell companies, and with help from insiders, he bypassed checks and balances for years. When the fraud was uncovered, he fled the country. And yet, he continued living in luxury in Europe for months, because, on the surface, he still looked like a respectable entrepreneur. In South Africa, the Africrypt crypto scandal followed a similar script. Two teenage brothers launched a platform claiming they'd discovered a revolutionary investment algorithm. Promised 10-15% returns weekly. Their story went viral. Influencers endorsed it. News outlets praised them as crypto prodigies. Then one day, the site vanished. So did $3 billion. And the brothers, gone. Disappeared without a trace. Across continents, across cultures, across currencies, the tactics remain the same. Speak well, smile often, appear humble, look like the person your audience wants to believe in, because the most dangerous criminals don't threaten you. They don't need to. They gain your trust. In Russia, after the Soviet Union collapsed, a wave of privatization allowed insiders to buy state-owned companies for pennies. Former party members, government officials, and well-placed businessmen scooped up energy, banking, and mining assets. They became the oligarchs, billionaires born from chaos. But many of these deals were laced with fraud, violence, and corruption. It wasn't business, it was conquest. And yet these men walked freely, surrounded by bodyguards and politicians. In China, the collapse of the Evergrande Group exposed another layer of deception. For years, they sold properties that were never built, promised investors high returns backed by massive real estate projects, but the debt was unsustainable. When the company defaulted, the shockwaves hit global markets. Foreign banks, investors, even construction workers, all left in ruins. The company had built its empire on over-promises and under-delivery, but their offices, shiny and sleek, their branding, world-class, their leaders, photographed in front of skyscrapers. Every one of these stories has something in common. They didn't start with a theft. They started with a face, a calm voice, a confident handshake, a reassuring smile. These weren't criminals in hiding. They were the keynote speakers, the guests of honor, the entrepreneurs of the year. They were the ones we applauded, and that is what makes them so terrifying, because true deception doesn't come with warnings. It doesn't come dressed in shadows. It comes in daylight, with polish, with charm. It tells you what you want to hear. It shows you what you want to see. It makes you feel special, safe, seen. And then, once you're all in, it takes everything. Your savings, your security, your trust. So the next time someone seems too good to be true, remember these names, these stories, these faces, and ask yourself the question that too many people ignored. Would you trust this man?